Marri is, without a doubt, one of the very best login champions that you get inside the entirety of Watcher of Realms, and that is saying a lot because we get a lot of good champions in this game for 100% free. So we're going to be talking through her kit here today. I'm going to be talking to you about how to build her and all that sort of good stuff. If you like the content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to cover more Watcher of Realms going forward because I am absolutely loving the game. Now this is, of course, a skin for her, so she'll probably look a little bit more different and more like this when you have her on your account, but the skin looks absolutely fantastic in my opinion. They did a run recently where you could get like the little bag and you could actually get the skin for free as well if you didn't have it, so that was pretty fantastic. Marri, what does she do? Well, first of all, these reviews are incredibly, incredibly low in my opinion. I swear I only start coughing apparently when I'm trying to record a video. The rest of the day I'm just sitting here perfectly fine, but it is what it is. She is fantastic. She has a very interesting kit. So she has a total of 3 skills. So she has her basic attack, where she's going to inflict slow on the target with each attack. Additionally, there's a 35% chance to cast icicles at 3 random targets, inflicting slow. And then for every 5 basic attacks landed, she's going to restore 6 rage, which is insane. So she has slow. This is going to be movement speed minus 75%, which if you're coming from raid or a game like it, this game is tower defense based, so enemies are constantly moving towards, you know, barriers or towards your life points essentially, so you always want to try and make sure that you're controlling them to some extent. At Awakened 1, she's going to increase the chance of attacks producing extra icicles by 15%, so it's a 50% cast rate. So she's going to have a 50% chance to inflict slow on additional targets, up to 4 targets at once. And then the duration of slow and freeze inflicted by Marri increased by 1 second, which is insane. So this is a 1.5 second duration when she's awakened. Very, very strong for a basic attack. On top of that, she then has an ultimate where she casts a blizzard on enemies for 6 seconds, dealing AoE damage equal to 90% attack to all enemies within range and inflicting them with freeze. Now, at Awaken 3, she's going to get a blizzard duration +1. At Awaken 5, the duration of slow and freeze. We kind of covered this, right? So she has a stronger ultimate and all those sorts of good things. Now, one thing to call out with this is she is actually still used every single week in my team for Guild Boss 2. When he's doing his big charge up during Phase 1, she is one of the few champions on my account that can actually do something about it. Her freeze is in my primary team. She manages to push it back, and with the rest of my team members, we kind of get it to the point where it's, you know, healing us when he hits rather than anything else. Finally, she has a passive. Attack triggered icicles inflict slow upon the target for an extended duration. Meanwhile, targets inflicted with slow by Marri will receive vulnerability to physical damage and magic damage. Now this is straight up physical damage taken plus 20% and magic damage taken plus 20%. Again, if you're familiar rather with something like Raid Shadow Legends, this is essentially just saying defense decreased by 20%. To an extent, there is also a defense down in this game, but she's increasing the damage taken, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, it is weaker than defense down, so at the end of the day, if you have like a Torador or something like that, he is, of course, going to be a bit better because he's one of the best legendary lords in the entire game, so we'd expect it. But she is still incredibly strong, so to cover and summarize her kit, she controls the enemies, she can straight up freeze them, and she slows them if she doesn't freeze them, and she's also placing increased damage taken essentially on them, which is fantastic. So how do you want to build her then with those things being considered? It is very simple for Marri. There are 2 stats that you want. 1 is attack speed and 2 is rage regen, and that is really all you're focused on. You do of course want some HP to help her survive as well. She does have very low base stats, right? So she can get hit and basically one-shot by the guild boss, especially at higher levels, so you want to get some HP on her. These are the stats that I have on her. 25k HP. We have 656 defense. I didn't focus on defense at all. Her defense is so damn low, you're not going to really build it. But then we have a grand total of 550 attack speed on her, which is going to bring her attack interval down to every 1 second, and 74.5% rage regen. If I was really going to min-max this build, I'd want more rage regen on her so that she can have more uptime on her ult, and then more attack speed and more HP, of course. Those are the 3 stats you're looking for. It is fantastic. You'll have to excuse the constant coughing there. I'm still battling it for some reason weeks after it initially started. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the gear pieces now. We have a very nice Wicked Vengeance piece here with some attack speed and rage regen on it. We have a life force that rolled pretty well. She doesn't benefit from really any of these stats though, right? So you don't need attack on her. She's not a damage dealer. She just has the HP bonus here, which is nice. The rest of it was just kind of boosting up her BP. We have HP bonus, very nice attack speed roll, and then rage regen on this piece. Attack speed and rage regen, and then you guessed it, HP bonus, attack speed, and rage regen on her ring as well. She is so incredibly simple to build out. Let's take a look at her awakenings. We covered it. Awakening 1 increases the chance of attacks producing extra icicles. Awakening 2, HP plus 1200%. And then we get the enhanced blizzard duration. We get redeployment time minus 10 seconds, which is very strong. Realistically, you're probably not going to be redeploying her though, in my opinion at least, right? Because in most of the content she is needed, so she's not really one of the heroes that you're going to cycle out. That being said though, if you are running like a Laurel strategy or something like that, she can cycle into your team fairly proficiently. And then of course, A5, she gets the increased duration of slow and freeze, which is absolutely fantastic. Would I use soul stones on her? Maybe. In all honesty, epic soul stones are definitely not as valuable as legendary soul stones, and she is a champion that, again, or a hero that I am a late game player. I am 100% free to play, but I do have a absolutely insane roster for a free to play account, right? And I still use her almost daily, which is insane. And then of course Shemroth, the guild boss 2, he gives you some of the best rewards weekly, so very similar to like a Hydra or something like that inside Raid, and I'm using her there every single battle. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the areas she is used apart from that. So you are going to see her quite a bit inside the anti-air DPS, so if we look at even Apex Overlord, she is in here, I believe, at 16th place. We look at Overlord, and I believe she actually starts to move up a little bit, yeah, so she's at 9th place. And then if you look all the way down at like bronze, you're still going to see her in here as well, I believe. Actually, no, you're not, but you have Voltus in here, oddly enough. It is bronze rank though, so people are going to be doing all kinds of crazy things. So anti-air DPS, she's fantastic. You can use her in AoE DPS as well, essentially just, you know, helping to slow it down and helping keep all the enemies into the kill zone for your, you know, damage dealing champions. And then of course having that decreased defense or the increased damage taken is I gotta start differentiating them because they are two different things in this game. I'm used to Raid more so, but having the increased damage taken from physical and magical damage is so incredibly strong. You can even use her in Guild Boss 1. I'm going to do a live kind of showcase for you though inside Gear Raid 1, so we're going to be clearing stage 20 with Power Dominance on because I don't want to have to re-record this like 5 times if I fail the placements. Now, don't get me wrong, this is probably not a free-to-play friendly composition. So we have Eluin and Boreas and Comet and all that sort of stuff, but none of these champions are awakened or anything like that, apart from Greed, who you actually get for free as well, along with Marri, right? So you can very easily use him. Basically, what you need for Gear Raid 1, just a quick kind of summarization, is you need some sort of anti-heal, and then you just need strong DPS. And Marri can really assist you with keeping the enemies off of your wall, which is always very, very important. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we want to do this here. So essentially, first thing I'm going to do, put it on 1x speed. We're going to come in here, we're going to place Comet, then we're going to place Laurel, and the reason for that is I have Invigoration on her, so I want her to buff up the Comet there as soon as we can. We also place down Dolores. Dolores is going to be the attack buffer for our team. We're going to go ahead and throw it on 2x speed until we get close to enough for Boreas, so 19 points there, or 19 cost rather. Once we have Boreas, go ahead and throw him down, throw it back on 1x speed. He's going to come in, put those freezes on, put the anti-heal on everybody, which is fantastic. As soon as we can, we're going to pop the ults here on basically everybody. Once the ults are popped, we pick up Laurel, then we place down Eluin on this side. Eluin is going on the side with our strongest DPS champions because we essentially just want their rage to be regen. Still coughing here, which is fantastic. And then on the other side, what we're going to do is we're going to place down Hollow. So Hollow's coming in essentially just to heal up the champions I put on this side. And then as soon as we have the cost to do it, we're going to go ahead and place Marri right here. Now Marri doesn't have to be placed in early. You certainly could. You could technically place her in instead of Boreas, I imagine. But she's going to go ahead and sit right here. And from her range, as you can see, she's essentially going to cover this entire area here. When she casts the Blizzard, she can actually reach over to the boss as well and put her physical and magic damage taken increases on him, which is fantastic. We do have Demi in here for, of course, you know, the Lord skill, and then a little bit of extra anti-healing, as well as some AoE damage there when she's able. But this team right here is going to be enough to get you through it, right? Like on the right-hand side, I pretty much just cycle through heroes. I don't necessarily have anything kept in there for too long. We're going to go ahead and probably pop Hollow here, just because we do have a lot of AoE DPS coming in from these Scourges. So we want to make sure that Marri stays alive during her showcase, of course. We're going to go ahead and place Laurel. And then we're going to go ahead and pop everybody's ults. Then we are going to go ahead and pick her up so that everybody gets that rage while she's gone. We're going to place Demi down here. So Demi, when she's invisible, she's going to be inflicting additional slows. So her and Marri pretty much have the slows covered. We'll go ahead and pop Marri as well, so you can kind of see her Blizzard. She's going to do a nice little AoE here, which basically freezes everybody if they're not a boss, which is fantastic. So that skill makes it so easy inside Anti-Air Arena, for example, or AoE Arena, excuse me, just to kind of keep everybody, you know, sucked into wherever they might be and damaging them. So at this point, I don't even necessarily deploy Greed or anything like that. We kind of just sit here. We have Raiden in here as well, but he is strictly just here to give the stat bonuses to Boreas and Comet. We'll go ahead and throw it on 2x speed. Now the Scourges are coming in, but these guys do very little damage, if any, to the wall. So we are essentially just going to go ahead and kind of let them do their thing. We are wanting to go ahead and pop our ultimates once these other enemies start coming down towards the wall here. And what's nice about this too is when the enemies have slow, their chances of, you know, doing things, or their ability to do things, gets decreased as well, right? So Marri putting the slows on them when they're walking all the way around essentially means that they're going to have a lot less time to be whacking the wall, which is good, of course. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start popping some ults here. We will go ahead and pop with Marri as well, just so we can kind of keep these two groups separated a little bit more on this side. We'll pick up Laurel here. Excuse me. Elowen does a very good job healing on the left side, and then Hollow does a pretty acceptable job healing on the right side as well. We'll go ahead and we'll keep Greed out just to kind of showcase it a little bit more here. Now you can see the bosses coming in as well, and you'll immediately notice that we're starting to have these stacks of magic damage and physical damage taken going up on the boss as well, which is so incredibly strong. They are going to get some heals off, which is unfortunate, but we do have our ults coming in on Comet, Boreas, and Dolores again. We're going to go ahead and pop Marri as well. And this should pretty much be the run over here. And this is late game, or, you know, almost end game content, right? So this is stage 20 of Gear Raid 1. A lot of people struggle to pass this content, and just having somebody who can place those, you know, defenses, the damage increases. God damn it, I'll get it right at some point, I swear. Somebody who can place those, you know, increased damage taken is so incredibly strong. You can see we can start to chunk the boss here as well. We will go ahead and bring in Laurel one more time so that we can just ultimate cycle there on the left-hand side once again. So these guys are all going to go. We'll pop basically everybody, and then we'll have Greed come in and assist with some extra damage there as well. He does a lot of DPS. As you can see, we're just chunking down the boss, no problem. And what's interesting as well is her Blizzard does seem to place the increased damage taken as well, which makes her even stronger. And as you can see, we're taking him down without really too much issue. And that is it. No struggles there. Now, of course, we do have Power of Dominance on, so, you know, it looks a little bit easier than it would be in the actual run. Excuse me, the actual run. It's going to be a little bit sweatier than that, but at the end of the day, I have Power Dominance on because I was able to beat it, and I did actually beat it with this exact same team composition. So, very, very, very nice. So, you can get an idea of how useful Marri is inside the game, where you use her, and how to build her. That being said, thank you guys all so much for watching the video. I'll see you next time.